you didn't.
Now would be a good time to say spoiler alert, huh?
Yeah. I mean, they know. Spoiler alert. Jesus Christ. It'll be on the title, dude. Jeez. Psych. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the... Alright, so this is going to be our spoiler-filled review for Endgame. We recorded a video already. Unfortunately, that video was 1 hour long, and we felt like that was...
We're going back in time.
Unnecessary, right? I was like, yeah, we're not posting that. And then Kevin Smith ended up posting a 1 hour review of him just talking about the movie, which was very heartfelt and very good. You should go watch it. He cries like 4 times.
I saw the first 5 minutes. That was it.
He cries like 4 times.
It was a pretty good review. I mean, he basically did what we did, but you know, fine.
Alright, so basically a quick just summarization of what happens in Endgame. Thanos dies, which is obvious. I think everybody expected that. But I think we were kind of...
He died twice.
So he dies at the beginning. After he does the snap, they go with Captain Marvel and they kill him. He doesn't have the stones anymore. And then that's where the whole plot of the movie happens, right? So I think people basically got it right. There is time travel involved. Basically, the OG6 are going back in time to previous timelines that happened in previous MCU movies. Like Avengers, the New York Battle, Thor the Dark World, where his mom gets killed. Guardians of the Galaxy, like Star-Lord getting the Power Stone, and all this. Basically, they go back, they use the quantum realm from Ant-Man and the Wasp to sort of time jump into different, timelines to get the stones, and then they use the stones to bring back, basically to undo Thanos' snap, and it's Hulk is the one that eventually does it. He's Tony Stark creates his own little personal gauntlet that can help them wield the power of the stones. So yeah, basically... that's the whole middle of the movie, I think, is them getting the stones, collecting the stones, and then undoing the snap. And then the final act is basically somehow Thanos finds out the Thanos in the past, because the Thanos from the present is dead. He got murdered. Yeah. Thor chopped his head off when he found out that he didn't have the stones anymore, because he used the snap one more time to destroy the stones. So while they're doing these time jumps, some kind of event happens with Nebula going back and linking with her past self. Because how do they're on the same neural network or something?
They're on the same network once they go back in time as the previous Nebula, so they both kind of sync together, and so everything that one's seeing, the other one's seeing, and so this is projected to Thanos.
And while Thanos from the past has Nebula up in pieces, he's always modifying her, this freaking 5-minute YouTube run-through video of the whole Avengers Endgame plot literally plays for Thanos before him. And he finds out.
So inconvenient.
It's inconvenient for the Avengers, but it's so convenient for Thanos. It plays before them, right in front of him.
He has no struggles whatsoever, man. He has it, man.
Very convenient. Everything's kind of just put in place for him. So yeah, Thanos from the past figures out the plan of the Avengers from the present. Well, not really present, future, right? Because there's like a 5-year jump after the first initial snap, and he uses the quantum realm to jump into that timeline.
2014 Nebula hijacks the time machine, I guess you want to call it.
She comes and replaces present Nebula or future Nebula, whatever the hell, 2023 Nebula.
It's all confusing.
And she's the one that initiates the time travel to bring Thanos from the past, 2014 Thanos, into 2023.
And since he already won once, he thinks he's gonna win again.
Yeah, so he basically says he's inevitable, right? He was like, I did it once, I can do it again, right? So his whole plan is to come and get the stones, since they already collected all the stones. How convenient for him.
That they're already
and to do the snap again. And basically this whole epic battle comes out, and which we'll talk about, because that's definitely one of our favorite parts of the movie.
High points.
And it eventually ends up with Tony stealing the stones back from Thanos and doing the snap to kill Thanos and his whole freaking army.
Yeah.
So Tony does the ultimate sacrifice, which is probably the most saddest thing I've seen in movies in a long time. And fuck you, Captain America. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man, I was happy for
and Captain America ends up getting a happy ending, and we'll talk about that. I'm pretty sure Carlos will want to talk about that.
One thing to mention that earlier on in the movie, when they were getting the stones, Black Widow dies.
Oh, also Black Widow. When they go back in time to get the Soul Stone, as you guys know from Infinity War and Vormir, Red Skull says, "You must sacrifice something you love," right? and so basically her and Hawkeye are battling because they each want to sacrifice for each other, because something happened in Budapest, which they still don't explain.
Yeah.
Which hopefully we finally get some kind of reference in the Black Widow movie.
Or in the Hawkeye.
Which will be cool because essentially Hawkeye was sent to kill Black Widow. He spares her life, and now she feels like she owes her life to him. Yeah. So she gives her life for the Soul Stone. And
I mean, not only that. I mean, you know, he has a family.
Yeah.
He has something to go to. She doesn't really have anything. I mean, her family is the Avengers.
So yeah, she ends up.
Tony had a family too.
No what?
Yeah, that's the thing. Tony had a family too, so that's what I'm more pissed. I had to go and save everybody's ass just so Cap can go back into the 50s and dance to some sorry ass music.
He got dropped down, bro. He was twerking.
God,
they were twerking with that ass, bro.
Man. But yeah, she ends up sacrificing herself, and yeah, that's another sad moment in the movie. So like
that was probably the first real punch in the face.
Your key deaths in the movie were Black Widow, Tony Stark. Thanos.
But we knew that he was gonna be at the
Gamora stays dead. Like present time Gamora stays dead. Yeah. Vision stays dead. And I think that's about it, right? No other real deaths. Actually, Thor does die. Muscular Thor dies. He ends up being a fat bastard and pretty much useless. But
he was 8. He was eaten alive.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's another thing. All right, so that was the whole basic plot. Like the reason the whole last video was an hour.
No end credit scene.
No end credit scene. Do watch the credits roll though, because there's a nice little homage paid to the OG6 Avengers.
Their little signature.
With their signature. It's kind of like a Star Trek-y vibe that they did.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's the whole thing. Just to avoid talking for an hour like we did in the last video.
Yeah. We're trying to give you a game here.
All right, so let's go ahead and start at what we didn't like about the film.
What we didn't like. Well, I mean, I guess one of the things that we kind of all agreed on was, you know, Thor and Hulk, right? But I feel like Hulk was okay to me. I didn't feel like it was such a big dread on it. But Thor, I feel like it's because they just made him the comedic relief, you know. And I don't see that from somebody who's supposed to be a king and supposed to be a god and stuff like that. But that's kind of be one of my low points. The other thing that they didn't really elaborate on was time travel.
Yes.
How it really worked.
Definitely.
But after, you know, you start reading articles and start, you know, seeing what the director's initial intent was, you start kind of understanding, but it, you know, takes away from the movie. They did kind of mention it, but at the same time, it kind of left you in a wonder, like, oh, but what about this? What about that? How did Captain America do this? You know, how did he come back if technically the timeline was changed and stuff like that? So, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of little things like that eventually got explained.
Complications.
But, yeah.
Complications.
They were explained at the you know, after the film, but I feel like, you know, it could have been implemented there. But I mean, that's about it. I mean, the movie was great in my opinion.
All right, you call?
Thor and Hulk. I mean, that's really the hardest.
I think that's the general consensus.
That's the hardest part for me to deal with because this is the conclusion to 22 films, and Hulk doesn't get his rematch. Hulk never makes an appearance in the movie. It's Bruce Banner, green and bigger, and it really was disappointing to see Hulk like that. I never got a Hulk rage moment. They were talking about World Breaker Hulk and stuff like that. There was all these theories and stuff like that about getting this massive, like, imagine seeing Hulk just being Hulk, you know, Hulk smash something, but it was really disappointing to see Hulk like
that. Not the little crap they gave us when they went back in time.
No, man, it was horrible. It was horrible. And then, obviously, I mean, I'm a big fan of Thor, and, you know, the direction that they took with Ragnarok, I was not a big fan of it. I liked Thor 1, and I liked Thor 2. I liked the tone that they had. I liked the seriousness that it had. He had a purpose, and in this movie, he had absolutely no purpose. Even him killing Thanos, I understand why he did it, but, you know, near the end, concluding the movie, he had Stormbreaker, he had Mjolnir, and he couldn't do anything. You know, like, I have nothing against Thanos being overpowered. That made the movie better. That's not something I dislike. But Thor being just out of shape, fat, just being a joke throughout the whole movie. There was a scene where, I don't know, I think Tony Stark dies, and Thanos is in the back, and the only thing that I could stare at was his little ponytail, his little goatee, and that bothered me so much because that was supposed to be an emotional moment, and I can't help but stare at the goatee. Like, why does he have that? Like, the Thor that we should have is like a warrior that would, you know, he wouldn't necessarily mourn, but he would, like, you know, a fallen warrior like Tony, you know, would, you know,
revenge for him.
Yeah, it would be like, you know, it would be a serious scene if Thor didn't look like a joke to me. So, and it's a conclusion, you know, so that's what it is.
Let me see. I think, that's general consensus for me too. It's just Thor and Hulk. I really didn't like how they were used as comic relief. I mean, Thor, I enjoyed Ragnarok. The only reason I enjoyed Ragnarok is, I mean, the comic relief made sense because he was brought down very freaking low, and towards the whole, towards the, building up the plot, he kind of redeems himself, right? So it made no sense for him to end up at the bottom again in Endgame. It's just kind of like you develop the character and then you chop him back down again, and it's just this seesaw effect for Thor, which is just really weird.
And I mean, this is going back to that movie. It's like the whole point of that movie was like he didn't eat the hammer.
Yeah.
And then he goes and he gets a new hammer and he's OP. And now he has that hammer and he is nothing.
Couldn't do anything.
It's like,
well, he had both hammers.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Okay, go.
And same thing, I mean, Hulk. Honestly, Hulk was one of my least favorite characters in the entire MCU. I like the original first Hulk movie with Edward Norton. I do like the direction that they went. I like the sort of design direction that they went with the Hulk himself, like just the sheer anger,
the rage
that he had.
Could feel it. There was no rage. There was no. You never felt that in Hulk. You never felt that.
So I really enjoyed that. Like you could see the power. Like that was Hulk. And then, I like Mark Ruffalo. God bless Mark Ruffalo. He's really good. I like him as Bruce Banner, but that Hulk, it wasn't for me, man. It just didn't do it for me.
I feel like Hawkeye was more dangerous in that movie.
Hawkeye had more character development than him
more
in the end.
Hulk, man. Like, only thing, and then that scene with Hulk taking pictures with the kids.
Yeah. That was dumb.
Hulk? That's what he turned into. Fuckboy Hulk.
That was dumb, dude. He was like Instagram Hulk, dude.
Yeah, man.
And then
Jeff side.
another thing was the time travel. Like, it really wasn't explained well during the movie. It kind of like was thrown on the back burner, right? It was just more to just progress the plot. Like, okay, this is how they get the stones. I'm not really gonna explain to you how they were able to get the stones, but this is how they get the stones. And yeah, like Juan said, like the directors and everybody explained it after the film, after the fact. And I guess it does kind of make sense, but
it's too much research.
Yeah,
it's just too much to do in a 3-hour movie.
All right, so let's talk about our high points now. Done with the negative points because there was a lot of positives.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I feel like it takes over the bad notes that the movie had, but in general, I mean, you just can't say enough good things about this movie because it was entertaining, it was sad, it made people cry. Of course, like the movie, the ending scene is of course the biggest part of the movie. I mean, it's what everybody was hoping for. It was exciting. I mean, everybody fighting, Doctor Strange coming out, seeing Spider-Man swing in. That was such a good scene, and it's something that you'd want to see in a movie that big. Of course, it's a comic book. You're reading your comics and you get a full page.
Splash
action in there, and you kind of experience that. But I think one of the scenes that really stood out to me the most, of course, was the Black Widow and the Hawkeye scene where somebody has to get sacrificed.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because in the first movie, which is Infinity War, the reason why they couldn't beat Thanos was because they didn't want to make a sacrifice. And when you get to this part in the film is when they, the first sacrifice is made in order to defeat Thanos and get everybody back, after the decimation and stuff. So I feel like it was such a good scene. I mean, you could feel the emotions. Everybody wanted to be the hero, basically. And in order to be a hero, you got to make some sacrifices. So
yeah,
I mean, that part to me stood out the most. Aside from the final battle, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm taking the final battle out of here because it's everybody's favorite part. So.
All right, man. Carlos?
My favorite part was when Captain Marvel showed up and just kicked everybody's ass, man. That was just perfect. No, I think my favorite scene was definitely Captain America picking up Thor's hammer. I was waiting for that since Avengers 2, since it was teased, and man, it was just everything about that specific scene was just perfect. In my opinion, seeing that, it made him part of that fight because, without that, he wouldn't have been, he was just a regular dude, because Thanos is like OP, even if he's a super soldier. And then, Captain America having his happy ending, getting his last dance and, being able to retire that way and passing on the torch to Falcon. But another scene that I mentioned in the video that's erased from this timeline because, we put the Infinity Stones back was, I really like that before Captain America goes back in time, Winter Soldier or Bucky, he tells him, I'm gonna miss you, take care, because he knows without saying anything that he's not coming back, that he's gonna go do something else. And Falcon, who he idolizes Winter Soldier, Captain America has a totally different friendship and relationship than Bucky does, because Bucky knows him so well, and they've been, they have this chemistry they've always taken care of without actually being there for so long, because technically they were away for so long, and then coming back, showing that Captain America is there. He aged, and Falcon's all surprised, and Bucky knew what Captain America was gonna do, and that just that bond is just special. Just good, for me, that's friendship and family. It's always been important, and seeing that in the movie, that's character development to me. That it is such a small cue, but it's, to me, I just noticed it. So
yeah. I think I think just the main thing, just the fan service. Like, Russo brothers, you guys killed it. Cap picking up Thor's hammer, getting all those characters on screen, just looked like a annual splash page with just seeing all these characters in one whole scene, which it was awesome. Seeing Thor get Mjolnir back, like all this fan service. Cap finally saying Avengers Assemble.
Oh yeah.
There was just moments where I was like, yeah, like fuck yeah, and then other moments I was like, no, like I was just like, my emotions were all over the place, which is something you want from a film, right?
Yeah.
You want a movie to make you feel something,
well, I don't
right?
know if I can get that many Tony Stark deaths.
Like, you want the movie to make you feel something, right? Regardless if it's sad or it's like, hell yeah, like you're rooting. Like, there was moments in the movie where I was like straight up rooting for people, right? And it was awesome, man, just to see like Spider-Man finally doing his instant kill mode in his suit with his red eyes, like so legit, man.
A lot of people felt for that scene where Iron Man and Spider-Man reunite.
Yeah, that scene too, where Tony finally gets to he realized that they brought back everybody, and Spidey's there,
and
Pepper in her rescue armor, and Tony finally doing the arc, the chest arc beam again. Like, oh my god, so much freaking fan service.
It was a lot of fan service.
So much fan service, and then just seeing Tony's sacrifice. I think that was my favorite scene in the entire movie. Although
it sucks.
It pissed me off that they decided to kill off Tony Stark out of all people.
I should have killed off.
And especially because Cap got his happy ending, and like, that I don't think Cap and Tony ever fully.
Well, that part really bothered me, that Captain America and Tony Stark didn't have one last scene together.
Yeah.
They didn't get to say, go live your life, buddy, or like Cap, Mr.
Yeah,
Stark.
that's the thing.
That's the little missing ingredient in that last scene, because the only people that he spoke to after the snap was Pepper and Peter.
Well, he didn't really say anything.
And
yeah.
it's still like, he didn't really say anything,
All
but
he said was
it would have been nice to like see Cap like reaching out to him.
Yeah, they just showed Cap crying, like he had tears, but that's the thing, like the movie, like they never fully mended things. Like Tony was pissed off at Cap about what happened in Civil War, and especially about what happened in Infinity War, because Cap wasn't there.
They kind of just got back together, right? Like quickly, like
there was no real they didn't really talk it through. Like it was like, hey, we got to save the world. Let's just put our differences aside for now. Like I think Tony still kind of held it against him, and it sucks though, because Tony had, with the 5-year time jump after the snap, he kind of just settled down. Like he stopped. He just gave up. Like he accepted his loss. He married Pepper. He had a child named Morgan, and he was living a regular life.
He could have just said no.
And he didn't want to get involved, but he felt guilty. Like he had the solution. He figured out the solution that they needed to go back in time.
Well, especially after the solution.
Yeah.
After the solution, that's when it was kind of like, I need to do something about it.
Yeah,
but I don't want to. But I have it here. I need to.
Yeah, he had a weight on his shoulders. Like it's just, and I think that's why I enjoyed the scene. As pissed off as it makes me, if you watch Tony from his first movie, all he's ever tried to do was save the world, and it's never turned out in his favor. Like he's always ended up screwing up somehow.
Even in the end.
Yeah, like with the first Iron Man movie, he was selling weapons, thinking that only the U.S. was buying these weapons, and that we were going to win the war, when in fact the weapons were being sold to both sides. Yeah. So he was creating war. And then, Avengers 2, he's trying to create like a protection for the world and create Ultron, and it ended up being the worst thing he could have done.
Yeah.
So he's had this issue of like, man, I really want to save this world. Let me do whatever I can, and it just really screws him over in the end. And he got PTSD from it. He had this constant fear.
Right? I texted y'all that it was really disappointing that he didn't use his left hand.
Like the whole that thing about like his left hand always being injured. Like people thought, okay, like people knew that it was gonna be Tony. Like somehow, like everybody just knew. I even knew. I think I even said in one of our previous videos that Tony's gonna be the one to wear the gauntlet. But even then, like it's just, it's just sad, man. He finally got his, you know,
His retirement.
he got his retirement, his R&R, but he had to do it. He had to finally do it, and it was like redeeming for him, right? It was nice because he finally did it, and this time he actually saved the world.
Yeah.
There was no side effects. There was no nothing. He saved the world. He brought everybody back. It's sad that he had to sacrifice himself to do that, but I think in the end, it's what he's always wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
He was tired, man. He was just really exhausted. It's on par with, you know, Wolverine, like Logan. Like he's done so much, but he wants to be done.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Tony wanted to be. He just wanted to be done.
In a regular human life, most people would be done with that.
So yeah, it was an emotional scene, and it was very heartfelt, man. And
I'm tired of fucking shit up.
He just
take me out.
And I can understand. And same thing with Cap. Like now I understand why they gave him this happy ending, because Cap's been through a shitload of stuff too, man.
He's been around for so long.
He just wanted rest, right?
Yeah.
And he knew that if he didn't stay, and if he would have stayed in present time, that he would never stop.
Yeah.
Because he has this uncontrollable need of just helping people. And I think Tony was the same way. Like Tony was 100 miles an hour at all times. They just finished, you know, fixing something, and he'd be thinking of solutions for the next thing. And I think it took a toll on him. And even Pepper knew, like, right?
Yeah.
Even when he's dead and he's catatonic, like he can't even speak. She's just like, you can rest now, right? We'll be safe. You did it.
Yeah.
We'll be fine. So I think it was a beautiful scene, man. And I do appreciate. I'm gonna miss Iron Man like a mother. It's sad that he's gone. No more MCU movies with Iron Man. I mean, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. He's a legend.
Well,
Definitely a legend. Man.
I think for that reason, he could have cameos.
Yeah.
Just like Stan Lee did, you know, he created the Marvel Universe.
I think he'll show up again to his
I
daughter
don't see
in
why
like the form of like memories,
or like holograms and stuff. Yeah, that would be nice.
Or he could be Jarvis, like the next
Yeah.
Jarvis. That'd be nice.
Oh, that would be
That'd
dope.
be-
It'd be Robert Downey Jr.'s voice.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be sick.
So I
man.
know that there's gonna. I mean, this dude contributed so much to the Marvel Universe, right? He created.
Marvel, take notes. That's crazy.
He basically created that universe, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Like Iron Man 1, it started everything, man.
Yeah. So he's part of that now. So I feel like some way or another this dude's gonna come back.
Definitely.
Form. Hopefully Jarvis. I mean that'd be so cool.
I mean that'd be awesome. Definitely a flashback scene.
Obviously, with the possibility of that 5-year span, there's a lot that they could do about that.
Yeah, to show what he did in those 5 years.
Like, or maybe, maybe
they can even show why, like, he was still creating suits.
Yeah, he made all those suits. Exactly.
They got up to 85.
And
right?
then,
why the hell were you still making suits?
And then, you know, like, with the fact that there are alternate timelines. If that is the thing, you know, they could still show him in a cameo, or
no, I mean,
you know, like Tony, or like, yeah.
So here's. I mean, I don't know if we want to deviate that much, but
no,
there is parts where, you know, they finally the Russo brothers explain.
That's
why
what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. So we know that there's aberrations out there.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's a whole thing. We could probably do a whole video about this and what's, you
like
know, our after
alternate realities.
Yeah,
and stuff.
something like that. Because we did a video after MCU, after Endgame or something like that, right?
Yeah.
We could do an update on that now that we know what happens in the movie and now we know.
Yeah, we touched upon that a little bit on what we expected, and it's definitely gonna have something to do with Doctor Strange too. Because if anybody's gonna have sort of affiliations with alternate realities, it's gonna be him.
Yeah, because
he's the one that's seen all these possibilities, right?
Plus, he's protecting our reality.
So yeah, if they're gonna, you know, they're gonna even reference that, it'd be Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. Oh yeah.
Those are our thoughts.
Yeah, so that's what we thought about the movie. Obviously, if you watched this video, you've seen the movie already, but go see it again because we're definitely gonna go watch it again. I'm planning to go watch it again probably tomorrow.
I'm watching it now.
Yeah, we have it on the screen right here, bootleg, baby. But yeah, it's. I mean, definitely, I think it's just it's a perfect
movie.
way to close out the MCU.
You have to watch it more than once. That movie's too long.
Definitely, and watch it in either IMAX or Dolby. Like, try to see it in the biggest screen possible.
If you need to use a restroom break, any scenes with Thor, any scenes with Hulk, it's a good time to
yeah, for real. Honestly, yeah, straight up. Yeah.
Any scenes with those
but at this point, you've seen the movie, so you can go.
Yeah, you guys know already. So, anyways, like in the comments, let us know what you guys thought. What's your favorite scenes? What was the things that you didn't like? And go ahead, spoilers all day, because people know not to be on this video if you haven't seen the movie. So go ahead. We honestly want to know like detail, like what you guys liked about the movie and what you didn't.
Now would be a good time to say spoiler alert. Huh?
Yeah, I mean they know. Spoilers. Jesus Christ, it'll be on the title, dude. Jeez, psych. All right, guys, be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, everything.
Let us know what you think.
We're at 55 subscribers. Thank you guys so much.
You.
We'll see you guys next time. Later.
Peace.